Bring this meeting to order. The March meeting of Mayor and Aldermen, Board of Aldermen, stand for the pledge and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Eternal God, again, we come thanking you for this day. We thank you, Lord, knowing that you have blessed us. We thank you for the privilege, Lord, of serving in a free and a great country. We pray for this great city, Lord. We pray that we will be diligent in our service to serve it, Lord. Lord, I pray for this board, Lord, that you would give us, Lord, the wisdom to make sound judgments for this city. Bless the citizens. Bless everything that we entertain to do. And most of all, Lord, please bless America. For it's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Item 1.3, approval of minutes from the regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen held February 18, 2025. We have a motion. We have a motion by Vice Mayor Harris. We have a second by Alderman Holloman. All those in favor, let's vote.
Yes. Yes.
Melissa, would you tell it? Anybody care to change their vote? Melissa, would you tally the votes, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Very good. Moving on to our public comment period. We have 3 people that have signed up to speak. We will bring them up one at a time. You will have a 2-minute time period to speak. Our first speaker tonight will be Gina Head Huber of 4940 Highway 49 west of Springfield. Gina, if you would please come forward. State your name.
I'm Commissioner Gina Head Heber. I'm one of the commissioners for District 11 for Robeson County. Some of y'all have heard what I've had to say. I'm not against development. I'm just against maybe as big of development as what is being proposed. There are plenty of issues, as stormwater is one of the issues, the sewer is one of the issues, the infrastructure. As a commissioner, I know that property taxes will have to be raised to take care of any schools, and with the amount of people, kids, that will enter into the school system, that is just a given. EMS dispatchers will have to be hired, more ambulances. I'm sure you all will have to probably hire more firefighters for all this, and that's not just for this development. This is the 2,400 that is already proposed developments that are approved. I please ask you, for the sake of your children, your grandchildren, and anyone else that will come after you, please do not vote it. Resist rezoning and annexation and the approval of this as it stands. Please make it smaller. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Lisa Arnold, resides at 313 North Main Street, Springfield. Lisa.
Mayor, Aldermen, and the members of the community. My name is Lisa DiVirgilio Arnold, and I'm the founder of Small Town Startup. I've spent my career helping small businesses in Springfield and beyond build sustainable futures. But the reality is this: many of our small businesses are struggling. The data shows that much of the support comes from outside of the county, not from our own residents. We've seen constant turnover on Main Street, and without growth, this cycle will continue. The approval of Vesper Village is the opportunity to change that. Over the next 15 to 20 years, the development will bring in new families, new customers, and new businesses, making our community more self-sustaining. It will allow local mom and pop shops to thrive instead of watching their customers take their spending to surrounding counties. Beyond business growth, Vesper Village will generate over $30 million in impact fees, a direct investment in our infrastructure, police, and fire services. Additionally, the use tax from this development will help to fund new schools, ensuring that as we grow, we can provide for the next generation. We cannot take the stance that our house is the last house built. If we do, we risk our own children leaving Robertson County because they have no opportunity to stay. This isn't just about housing. It's about building a strong, vibrant community where businesses can thrive, families can grow, and our future is secure. I urge you to vote in favor of Vesper Village for our small businesses, for our community, and the future of Springfield. Thank you very much.
Our third and final speaker is Tina Bailiff of 515 South Willow Street.
Tia Bailiff, I own Bailiff Law here in Springfield. The city intends to close the wastewater facility to waste haulers serving Springfield and Robertson County. We propose a creative meeting of the minds wherein city and county leaders gather with waste haulers to find a solution. What will this change for the residents? Robertson County only charges $25 per load of dumping at present. The nearest facility that accepts out-of-county waste is Clarksville, and they don't want our waste. As a result, the out-of-county waste is charged per 1,000 gallons at $90 per 1,000, and they charge for the whole service, the whole amount of the septic truck, which largely is 2,500 gallons. That's $225 to dump instead of $25 for your residents. The low end to have a septic tank pumped right now is $350. The price will increase for your residents to probably $800. That's saving $25 a month for your fixed income residents for 32 months just to pump their septic tank, which they have to do every 3 to 5 years to maintain their system. Why do you care? Well, when it comes to food or septic, food's gonna win every time. Septic tanks are supposed to be pumped in order to maintain them. When we cannot afford that maintenance, we find ourselves in a dire situation. The sewage overflows, goes to the ground, contaminates our crops, our livestock, our groundwater, and our waterways. That wastewater contains hepatitis A, cholera, typhoid, dysentery, worms, and that can be transmitted into what you drink, what you eat, and what we serve the community at large. This is a major issue, and Robertson County may not feel the issue from Springfield's decision tonight in the next 5 years, but we will feel it in the next 10. I know Springfield says it's not a Springfield problem, but we are our brother's keeper, and this is our community.
Thank you. This time, we'll close our public comment period. Our public comment period, yes, but there'll be no hearing tonight, so we're moving on to our legislative portion. Item 2.1, discuss and possibly take action on ordinance 25-02 on first reading. An ordinance rescinding ordinance 24-04 in its entirety, establishing a new schedule of fees and charges for play at the Legacy Golf Course. Ryan, I believe you have
Yes, sir.
some comment on this.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So this is annual. We try to do this in March. It'll run again in April to make the rate changes effective in May. As you can see from your packet, Cornerstone Golf Partners is proposing a $5 per round increase on the weekday and weekend rates, and that puts us still fairly behind our competitor courses that are in the area, and you have that information in your packet as far as what those courses are charging. You can see that our competitors primarily are 12 Stones, Greystone, the Hermitage, and Gaylord Springs, and they're still significantly ahead of us. This would put us closer to 12 Stones. So very pleased. If you look at the front of that, Mr. Frazier shared with us that recently the Legacy Golf Course was ranked the number 6 public golf course in the state of Tennessee, and number 28 overall golf course in Tennessee. That includes both public and private courses. We have a phenomenal asset in the city, and we're working to preserve that. So this ordinance is recommended for you tonight, and Mr. Frazier is also here if you have any questions.
Very good. We have a motion by Vice Mayor Harris. We have a second by Alderman Gregg. Any questions, comments? Are we ready to vote? Let's vote. Anyone care to change their vote? Melissa, would you tally the votes?
Motion passes 6-0.
Very good. Item 2.2, discuss and possibly take action on ordinance 25-03 on first reading. An ordinance codifying and modernizing the Springfield Municipal Code. Ryan, I believe you have something to add on that.
Motion, second. What's your motion?
We got a motion by Alderman Holloman, and second by Alderman Hubbard.
Thank you, Mayor. This is we've talked about this for a while. It is beyond time to recodify our municipal code. And the last codification happened in 2018. We've gone through a couple of different issues throughout that period of time. And last year, you all approved a contract with a company called Municode, which will make our municipal code available online in a searchable format, make it very transparent, easy to use for the public. And so this ordinance recodifies the municipal code into the format, also including the previously uncodified ordinances that are just kind of hanging out there, as well as the zoning ordinance and the subdivision regulations, puts everything together. And it is a modernization ordinance as well, because there are some things in our municipal code that are outdated by law. For instance, taxi cab franchise is one of those that's been preempted by the state legislature. Another item that is preempted is a city workhouse. That's no longer a thing. That's from the old right of the municipal code. There's a lot of that in there, and it's in there on the table that you can see in Exhibit A of the ordinance. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer those.
Do we have any questions, comments? We ready to vote? Let's vote. Anyone care to change their vote? Would you tally the votes, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Item 2.3, discuss and possibly take action on ordinance 25-04 on first reading. An ordinance abandoning a portion of the right-of-way on New Hope Lane. We have a motion by Alderman Hubbard and a second by Alderman Bradley. Any questions, comments? Are we ready to vote? Let's vote. Anyone care to change their vote? Melissa, would you tally the votes, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Item 2.4, discuss and possibly take action on resolution 25-04 on first reading. A resolution annexing and zoning various parcels located on South Main Street, Law Road, and Highway 49 West to a specific plan, Vesper Village. We have a motion by Alderman Bradley. We have a second by Alderman Hubbard. Any questions, comments? We ready to vote?
This is the full thing for what the planning commission approved?
Yes.
I have some questions. It's in reference to all of this, correct?
I'm sorry?
Is this in reference to all of
Yes,
it?
sir.
Jason,
Thank you.
state your name, please.
I'm Jason Rebsher. I'm with Barge Design Solutions, representing the developer for Vesper Village.
So in this specific plan, is it the road that goes through the center of all this? I think y'all refer to it probably as the boulevard. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then, what is the timeline on that being at full completion? I think you've told us that before, but I don't remember exactly what you did say.
Yeah, so we're coming in both sides, so we're going to come in from both 49 and from 431, off of Watson, and have about a third on each side done within a 3-year period of time. That opens up the 2 initial phases that we've kind of shown on some other diagrams. I'm not sure they're exactly in that package, but in some of the other groupings, we've showed the two groupings, phase 1 east and 1 west. That will be the initial areas that are primarily commercial with some, residential that goes with them. And then that will continue. So after those third and that first, years 1 through 3 are gone, we're going to continue on. So it'll, the connection, that center section, the boulevard will continue to be built. The construction's not going to stop. And we do anticipate that being done in about 5 years. And that opens up that entire, the development on our end, but also is that traffic flow pattern that kind of establishes that boulevard, that spine to be the flow path for how we start building the residential office, so we're not adding that traffic on South Main or to LAR or into Central.
Okay, so on what you're calling page 65 of what you've given us, then, that they're going to be completed on each end first?
Correct.
Okay, coming up to about 1E, is that what that is?
Correct, yeah,
there?
the end of 1E, and then, on that southeast side, and then, coming, then it'll be on the 1 west side, it'll come down to that, that lower section. So it'll leave about a third unbuilt at year 3, but then we'll continue building, building that forward. It'll have, that center section will have that entire center median will be in place and the 2 drive lanes. And as the additional buildings get in place in that core area, that's when the parking and the sidewalks will come, will be placed as each one of those pieces come in. But the full drive pattern will be in there within that 5-year time frame from the starting of construction.
Okay. So on the entire, what you refer to as the boulevard, is there going to be a bond on that?
Yes,
Or-
yeah, all your normal city processes will still be in place. So, when the binder goes down, those extra pieces are, you'll have a bond for finishing it to make sure it gets to finished topping. But even then, as the development's moving forward, you'll still have a maintenance bond, so that the city's not the one maintaining that until it's, at its completion.
Because my understanding, this is what you're calling the centerpiece of this whole thing.
That boulevard is, that's what makes the whole thing possible. It allows for that traffic flow. It's what's going to bring everybody to that core commercial area. It alleviates the traffic problems that are between 49 and 431.
But there would be a bond in place if something happened, that the money would be there to finish
Absolutely, yeah.
what needed to be finished, okay. In your meeting with the planning commission, I think it was somewhat stated or committed possibly that y'all are going to provide sidewalks to anything that abuts your development on the south main end?
Yeah, on South Main, we're happy to provide that right away. So we've got sidewalk going, coming off of the, where Watson ties in. We've got sidewalk in any areas that we're, touching, so that'll put about a 200 feet of sidewalk in. And then I think the issue is trying to find areas for the direction up and down South Main to even try to find a place to put it because of the grades and the changes in there. We're willing to, provide that, extra right-of-way through there to allow those sidewalks to come in whenever they're necessary.
So you're
We'll have
talking
that main
a
pathway.
Total of 200 feet?
Yeah, we have 200 feet, it's 250 feet that's coming off there at Watson, but we're happy to provide that, the rest of that length through there, that touches the property, happy to provide that for, right away for the city. But again, we'll have that new basically greenway that's gonna come and connect everything through there. So that you're gonna have a lot of connection from South Main, all the way to, the interior portions of development that'll tie onto the greenway that's gonna come all the way through from up where the Bransford, community centers, proposed to be, all the way down to MLK. Park.
That's all the questions I have right now.
How long will that bond be for, that y'all will maintain it after it's built? Do we know that?
Well, we should have, again, the boulevard itself should be built in that 5-year timeframe. I would estimate you're gonna have at least another 5 years, before all of that core area is, kind of built out along the main corridor, so at least 10 years.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to have a comment. Thank you for being available, and we've had, I know, at least 2 public input sessions. I wasn't able to be at the actual planning meeting with the planning commission, but I watched almost 2 hours of it on YouTube, so thank you to everyone for making that
Sorry for
available.
that. Anybody has to
No, it
listen
was
to me for 2
very,
hours.
it was very informative, and so I know we have a lot of folks in the audience today who are here for this discussion. It may seem like we aren't having much of a discussion, and that's partially because there's been a lot of discussions ongoing. So I wanted to thank you for being available for that. And then I just wanted to reiterate something with our city manager. And I want to state this, and then you tell me if I'm correct or not.
Okay.
The area that's being developed, we have no way as a city to force that to remain undeveloped farmland. That's just not something that the city can control. If we did not, allow them to do this development, it could still be developed in like 5-acre lots per house. Is that correct?
It could.
So there's really no scenario in which this land's going to just remain undeveloped realistically. I think that a lot of people have talked about responsible growth, and I think that's what we're striving for. People disagree on how to do that. But again, I just wanted to say thank you for you've given us a lot of information. For those who are interested in more information, there's a ton out there. And even if it doesn't look like we're getting into all of it today, we have. And we're happy to keep talking about it. Thank you.
Any other questions, any other comments?
Is this a scary adventure? Yes, very much so. But
And I told someone else earlier today, as far as directly being contacted, I've only had 3 personally contact me concerning it. It's I think a very well put together structure. I don't see a company or a developer of this size coming into this area just saying, hey, let's try this. I think you put some thought into it, some development behind it. I agree with Emily that, you know, this land's going to be developed one way or the other, whether these folks do it or whether it's sold off to different developers, where you've got 5 or 6 or 7 different things happening out there that none of it matches, none of it goes together. So I would welcome that part of it. The specific plan, in my opinion, is only as good as the Board of Mayor and Aldermen or the Planning Commission that sits here. If there's a problem down the road in the future, and hopefully there would not be if it passes, then it's going to be up to the board that sits here at that time and the Planning Commission that sits here at that time to make sure that this specific plan is enforced. I asked you that question at the work session, that if something happened along the way that, you know, the economy went bust or this went bust, what happens? I think your explanation of that was that possibly the banks holding the note would sell off those remaining pieces, but the specific plan would have to be followed.
Yep, it endures. Yeah, it goes with the property, so that endures, and as you kind of
That
went.
specific, you know, and then that doesn't mean that those banks or those lenders would not come back to this board and say, this is not working, can you change this, can you change that or not? So it's only as strong as this board that sits here that's willing to enforce that. If it passes, I think this board that sits here today is very willing to enforce this specific plan that we have before us. So that's all I have.
Just one thing, I remember at one of the other planning sessions, there is another community very, very similar to this. It's in the Cool Springs area, correct? That's,
Everybody likes Berry Farms. It's off the interstate. You can see it.
so for the public's knowledge, there is, if you want to take it from here, there is
yeah,
development like this.
Yeah, that one is slightly different. I was just talking about it with somebody here. So, yeah, so they were around basically just shy of 1,200 homes there, doors, everybody wants to call it. But they had a very high commercial component because it was in Williamson County. So their commercial and that's business component. They went with 5-story. So they have over 69 acres of 5-story buildings stacked in, for businesses. So it's a little different in this regard. We're not intending for this to look like that.
Sure.
This is obviously 3-story kind of stuff. We've got a cap.
Right.
We've also capped the residential. There, they didn't have a cap on the residential. If they could squeeze in, if they could have just said only townhomes were what they wanted to build, they could have kept on building townhomes until they maxed out the property. And so that is not what we're talking about here either. We're putting a cap on the number of doors, whether that's single family, whether that's multifamily, whether it's cottages. There is a fixed limit on those number of doors, period.
Any other questions or comments? Are we ready to vote? Let's cast our votes. Anyone care to change their votes? Liz, would you tally the votes, please?
Motion passes 5-0 and 1 abstain.
Very good. Item 2 point.
Mr. Hubbard, would you please, for the record as required by our ordinance and the statute, state why you abstain?
I'm not really clear in my mind, okay? Is that good enough?
No, sir, it has to be a conflict or an interest.
Just change the number. I'll put it no, will it be okay? Change the number.
Yes, it just has to be a vote one way or the other.
So Liz, would you read the
Motion
tab?
passes 5-1.
Item 2.5, discuss and possibly take action on Resolution 25-05, a resolution declaring certain property surplus and authorizing the disposal of such property. We have a motion by Alderman Hubbard. We have a second by Alderman Holloman. Any questions, any comments? Are we ready to vote? Let's vote. Anyone care to change their vote? Would you tally the votes, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Very good. Moving into our administrative portion of our agenda, discuss and possibly take action on the adjustment of the retail electric rates of Springfield Electric Department due to the wholesale fuel cost adjustment by Tennessee Valley Authority. Mr. Terry Risha, would you report to us, please? Very good. We have a motion for Alderman Holloman and a second by Alderman Gregg. Are we ready to vote? Let's cast our ballots. Anyone care to change their vote? Melissa, would you tally the votes, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Item 3.2, discuss and possibly take action on the adjustment of the monthly gas rates of the Springfield Gas Department. Mr. B.G. Davis, would you report to us, please?
Purchase gas adjustment is down 3.6%, 3.6 cents, which results in a decrease across the board of 4.76%.
Good. We have a motion from Alderman Hubbard, second by Vice Mayor Harris. Any questions, comments? Let's vote. Anyone care to change their vote? Melissa, would you tally the votes, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Item 3.3, discuss and possibly take action on a recommendation from the Traffic Committee concerning on-street parking on Gulfview Lane. We have a motion by Alderman Holloman. We have a second by Alderman Hubbard. Terry, Brian, you have
Sure.
something to add?
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. This is a recommendation from the Traffic Committee. This was, that came in, I believe, initially through Alderman Gregg and a constituent that lives in that ward that wanted the Traffic Committee to look at parking on Gulfview Lane, and they did, and they made a recommendation tonight to you all to restrict parking on either side of Gulfview Lane.
Have we, oh, I'm so sorry. I was just gonna inquire, have we dealt with something in the Gulfview Lane area already? Dealing with something similar where we had it only on one side of the road?
We close to that area, we dealt with in the Village Green there,
Okay.
which is next to where Gulfview is.
Okay.
That's, we dealt with parking there. And I think that's honestly, Ms. Holman, what prompted this to
It
come up
seems a
also.
very similar problem, yes.
Any other questions or comments?
The golf club is from Memorial to Ruth,
Yes.
and Gulfview is from Ruth down the other side.
Any other comments, questions? Ready to vote? Let's vote. Anyone care to change their vote? Melissa, would you tally the votes, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Item 3.4, discuss and possibly take action on task order with Griggs and Maloney Incorporated, all engineering service for the water treatment plant pump upgrade project. We have Alderman Hubbard motion and a second by Alderman Holloman. Any questions, comments? I have one question. When would this project start?
The project has already started. It's supposed to finish in September of this year. This is a change order for some extra things that were discovered, which we have another item, two more, or not the next item, but the item after that, there was another item that was discovered. So this is a change order to the original contract, the engineering services contract, and then the next one would be a change for a repair that was discovered during the project.
Very good.
It's a fairly lengthy project. I think it's a 14-month or 12 to 14-month total project or something like that, but it should be finished in September.
Thank you, Ryan. Any other questions, comments? Let's cast our votes. Anyone care to change their vote? Melissa, would you tally our votes, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Item 3.5, discuss and possibly take action on an agreement with Grisham Smith Incorporated for for bidding phase services for the War Trace Creek Interceptor wastewater project. We have a motion by Alderman Holloman and a second by Alderman Bradley. Any questions? Any comments? Are we ready to vote? Let's vote. Anyone care to change their vote? Melissa, would you tally the votes, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Item 3.6, discuss and possibly take action on a change order to the construction contract with Cumberland Construction for the water treatment plant upgrade project. We have a motion by Alderman Hubbard. We have a second by Vice Mayor Harris. Any questions? Any comments? Ready to vote? Let's vote. Anyone care to change their vote? Would you tally the votes, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Item 3.7, discuss and possibly take action on an agreement with Austin Peay State University for the GIS partnership with its GIS Center. We have a motion by Alderman Bradley and a second by Alderman Holloman. Any questions, any comments?
Get some explanation.
Sure. So this is for water and wastewater GIS mapping and kind of remapping our water and sewer system into the city's GIS system. It's a partnership with Austin Peay. We had budgeted for this project, and that's kind of it. I mean, that's kind of what it does.
Any other questions or comments? Let's vote. Anyone care to change their vote? Melissa, would you tally the votes, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Item 3.8, discuss and possibly take action on the conditions of a service policy relative to disposal of septic waste by private haulers. We have a motion by Holloman, we have a second by Mr. Hubbard. Questions, comments?
Mayor, as I don't think we're allowed to ask questions during public comment or public hearing, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so can I ask this lady back to the podium for some clarification in her statement?
Tony, would you?
You made a comment, and I want to make sure that I understood it, that it currently costs our residents around $300 and something to have a septic tank pumped.
Yes, sir.
And if we
On the
raised
low
the-
end. On the low end, it's $350.
And if we raised a fee that you said could be $800 or so dollars, how many city residents do we have on our septic system? Not very many, do we?
City residents, probably less than 30. I think it's the county is primarily septic, and she may have been referring to county.
So was you referring to county or city? I thought you said city.
Sir, both city and county.
City and county.
There are constituents that you have that are on septic.
But as far as city-wise, you're thinking 30 or less.
I don't know exactly. I would say somewhere around that. Mr. Beers may have a better idea.
Those are pretty close.
Okay.
Shouldn't
Okay,
you
I just wanted to
know?
make sure that I understood what you're saying. Thank you.
So I have a couple of questions. Can I do that? So are we, I don't know if this is for you or for the mayor or for Brian, are we talking about raising the rate? Or are we talking about just not allowing people to dump at all?
Well, what's before you tonight, the mayor had originally had a conversation. I don't want to speak for him. He can speak for that too. What's before you tonight is a discussion topic.
Okay.
So we're currently still accepting the waste. There was some discussion early on about, because the ordinance language is permissive, there was some discussion early on about just terminating the process. I actually spoke with Ms. Bailiff. We decided, when we talked to the mayor, we decided to continue until you all had an opportunity to evaluate, A, whether you wanted to continue the process, and B, whether or not you wanted to alter the rates. And so it's just a discussion topic tonight.
Okay.
There's not necessarily a proposal before you.
I just am curious, I know I don't want to misspeak. It may have been that we've temporarily stopped accepting, or we're talking about not accepting because it is permissive. I've read the statutory language. Is there a reason why we were stopping taking? Is there a concern on how it's impacting the city's processes at all?
Yeah. Mayor, do you want to?
That was our concern, that we were having so many, we learned that we have approximately 35 trucks a week coming in there, and that's a considerable amount. Also, we learned that the waste trucks that are coming there, it's highly concentrated waste, which is harder on our equipment, on our facility. We were concerned because it's an older facility.
We've had a lot of issues with waste recently on this.
And
in our city.
we're not against the septic tank trucks.
Yeah.
But we've got to kind of protect our interests as far as the city providing a way to handle this kind of stuff. As we get the new expansion of the facility, it'd be much better. But I don't really think, my opinion is that we completely stop it, but we've got to do something. Our rates are awfully cheap.
They are. I noticed that in looking at the packet that you provided us, that we are way under market. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it sounds like we need more information on what it's going to do to our new system to continue allowing dumping, if there should be any restrictions or not, and should we raise the rates? I don't have the answers, but I think it's worth looking into.
Do other communities have a certain rate for waste removal that are in their cities? Like if your business in the city of Springfield, you pay one fee basis. If my waste removal was in Clarksville, they want to come to Springfield, they pay a separate fee. Do other places, do you know?
May I answer?
Yeah, I'm asking.
So yes, so Montgomery County in Clarksville, they will accept out-of-county waste, but not all wastewater treatment facilities will. But Clarksville will, but the problem is they charge for the entire size of the truck because it's out-of-county waste. So instead of the regular rate, they up the rate and then they charge for the whole size of the truck. So where it's $25 here, and I think that the waste haulers would love to meet with you all and talk about creative solutions to fix this problem and make it profitable for Springfield and also to continue to serve the community. But in Clarksville, for example, for the same 2,500 gallon truck, it would be $225 each time.
For out of residence?
For out of county residents, anybody in Springfield or the local area. And I will say that the groundwater does not stop at the border of Springfield.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So ask Mr. Beers to come to the mic, please.
Terry, would you come forward?
So, just for some understanding, if a truck pulls up out there and wants to do this,
Yes, sir.
what's the process?
Well, they have to be permitted first to be able to come to us. They have to apply for a permit.
Through the city of Springfield?
Yes, sir.
Is there a fee for that?
Pardon?
Is there a fee for that?
No, sir. And once the permit there, they come in, they purchase what would be dump tickets, $25 from our office, $25 per load. They'll come and there's a receiving station there that they'll disperse that, and it's a $25 ticket that they'll be taking there at the plant. So $25 is what the dumping fee is for there. Now, we have no way to monitor the volume, concentrate, or anything like that. It's
We
not
don't take any samples of what's?
No, sir, no.
Okay. And then, how much employee time is involved in each one?
There's not a lot of time spent as far as, they'll come into the office there, they'll give their sheet there, here's what they're, where they picked it up from, the manifest that they'll have, it'll have all the information on there. They'll give that, it's minimal as far as coming into the office, the time spent there. It's not a lot of employee time.
Okay.
I mean, they're gonna examine while they're doing it, they're gonna watch them and pay attention to that, but
And is it, based on off the top of your head that you know, is that about what you said, 35 trucks a week?
yes, sir, that's an average for the.
So
per
roughly
week.
7 trucks a day, basically.
Well, you gotta understand, ours is daylight to dark, 7 days a week. So, it is, a lot of it's done on Saturdays and Sundays, but it's an average of about 35.
So we do it 7 days a week?
Yes, sir.
As Alderman Holland said, I think we've got some unknowns that we don't know that we're going to have to investigate and look into. I guess my major concern for this would be we're about to spend a ton of money to build a new wastewater plant. the question that I would ask myself, and not knowing full knowledge of everything that's taking place yet, I would think when one of these trucks pulls up to dump, that would probably be at least 2, if not 3 or 4 houses of waste. Would it be that?
It varies as far as the volume of the vehicles she was speaking. I mean, the truck could have 1,000 gallon, it could have 1,500, there's a couple that are 6,000. So it's really hard to say how many when you're saying there's how
But
many.
it's more than one house, I would think.
I would think, I
Yeah,
mean,
that would be common knowledge. but
I don't
that may be
do that.
something that we need to look into.
you can take the volume of a particular septic tank and what is pumped to there.
So I would think when
Take
we're
it
gathering
back.
information or before we make any decision on it, and, I'm not saying stop it, but I would think we certainly need to be charging a more fair price that is also fair to our city residents. My sewer bill this month was $65. And that's a low end. Most of the time, it's anywhere between $65 and $90 a month that I pay for sewage disposal. So is it fair to our city residents to allow someone to pull up that may be dumping 2, 3, 4 house loads of sewage into our sewer plant and paying $25? That's just my thinking on that. So I think we're going to have to do some more research or more, I don't know exactly what we need to do, but or what other data we need. But I think it's worth looking into.
I also note in the comparison of the different, cities that do this or counties that do this, there are some who require or may require the option of sampling. If that was a concern, I think someone had mentioned some concentrated, this is totally not something I know, but if we needed to have the option to sample what's being dumped, I think that's appropriate to know what we're dumping into our system if we have concern. So yeah, I'm in favor of looking into this more and trying to come up with a solution that's suitable for our city and longevity of our city. And that would be my suggestion.
Could something being dumped there, Terry, be like grease from a restaurant or motor oil or anything of that nature, or?
Normally not, but they may take something from somewhere that has a grease trap and they've dispelled that in another type of place at the plant. But it could still be some grease inside
So if
there.
it's mixed into that and it's dumped
It could be.
as
It
it's
could be.
normally dumped, does that
It could
cause
be.
more wear and tear or problem to our
Well, you have
plant?
your grit and grease and you're collecting that. There's different things that you're gonna collect, and I'll be terms like rags, different type things that you'll collect. You have to process that and then expel that, and then you have to haul that off, the different contaminants that you'll have in there. This is not like you'd have, say, typical wastewater. This is a concentrate. So it's a little more involved as far as what we have to do in order to get rid of it.
I just think to formally make a decision, we're gonna need some more data, so in your free time.
Okay.
But I don't know what instruction do we need to staff to do?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, is what data do you want us to get?
Well, that's.
We want you to solve the problem. I'm just kidding.
I have a question, maybe 2 questions. How do we know that the waste that comes to our facility doesn't come from out of the county? I know we kind of accept our county's waste, but I'm concerned that our price is so low that we're attracting people bringing waste from outside of our county into our facility.
Well, we go on the honor system there as far as, they have a manifest and they're permitted with us, and there's an address that they do. We've random checked, okay, he listed this particular address, and then with the phone number, and you can call and see if they got that there. So, like I said, it's the honor system there. It's there's no following up. Did you get this here? Get this, and there's
Really
no way to really
know,
determine
is there?
where
Really
exactly.
no way to know.
Well, do we know
No,
how much it
exactly.
costs the city to dump, what does it cost us to take in these,
That's really hard to say.
Yeah.
You're talking about treating volumes versus
Sure.
concentrates on just normal wastewater. It's hard to put a
Right.
value to that.
that'd be something.
And the county has no involvement in this at all?
They don't have a wastewater treatment plant
Yeah.
or wastewater system.
It's all on
Personally, I think we're gonna have to look at it and get some more information.
I don't think
I would be
there's-
highly in favor of charging a higher fee. I don't know
Absolutely.
that it's something that we need to stop doing, but how do we determine what that fee is gonna be?
This is a business they're doing.
I find that this is a business that's being run, and like Metro, you have to be bonded to be able to do this. We don't charge for a permit. You know, there should be a charge for a permit. This $25 is a gift. That needs to go up. They need to be bonded. If it's a business, run it like a business.
Then if I'm correct, was some of these, like they had to pay a per truck license also? Was there something in there like that?
Yes, sir, I believe,
If ABC was
Like
bringing
Columbia.
their trucks in there and they had 20 trucks, would they have to have 20 licenses or something?
what we found was Columbia and maybe a couple other jurisdictions require a per vehicle license or per vehicle permit.
I think we need to look into it and see what our fees need to be, but I don't know what
It seems like
instruction to give you to do.
Well, from just what limited knowledge we've gathered tonight for the different size trucks, it almost seems like it should be on a graduated scale. That would make, I mean, a person needs to be, like you were saying, bonded, sounds like a good start, and then, of course, raising the rates, but it's, all trucks are different sizes, and they're dumping, that seems to me that should be different fees.
And then I think if you stated correctly that, or if I understood what you stated correctly, Montgomery County has a fee for Montgomery County. And then if it comes outside of Montgomery County, it's a different fee, which I'm assuming that's based on.
City fee, county fee, and out-of-county fee.
It's quite profitable. It is.
Can we table this?
And Metro has, at their facility, they have to where they can meter it and count the gallon flow, and they charge by the gallon. It's quite a big business. There's a few private businesses that do it in Nashville.
I mean, I don't think we're voting on anything tonight as far as that goes, but I don't know what direction we go to get the information that we think we need.
Handle that.
Well, I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything unethical or anything like that, but, and we're not gonna get away from septic tanks. They're part of our community, and we wanna do what we can to make sure we're trying to help take care of the community, but we also have to kind of be mindful of the impact it's having on our wastewater treatment plant.
The money we're fixing to spend on it.
Yeah.
I'm really concerned about the content, you know. You did say no sampling.
No, sir.
Do you know of anybody that accepts this kind of waste and does sampling?
I'm not familiar with the ones that do sampling.
And I'm sure that would be a whole other
Yeah,
cost
we do.
scale there, because you got more.
We kind of need
employee
to
time.
know what's going into
Our sewer system.
What does that mean, Mr. Hubbard?
It kind of been a stink about sampling waste, and there's some arguments that's going around that, you know, different toxics and stuff's getting in, instead of just general waste that's coming from a household, waste that's coming from industry and stuff like that.
I'm unaware of that. I don't.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
What you doing, may I ask Ms. Director? Are they generally, the waste that we're dealing with is coming strictly from households?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. I thought maybe have a mixture of
Gotcha.
industrial stuff.
How do we,
Got to worry about the toxics that's kind of floating around.
so we can, I would propose we study what some other cities are doing, and
Yeah.
come back with something that would hopefully work for everyone.
Okay. So, Mayor, if I understand it, based on the research that was provided to you from the staff, you would like for us to evaluate those and bring you back a proposed ordinance in April?
Yes.
Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
With the graduated scale.
With a graduated?
Graduated. I don't think it's fair for small businesses, for restaurants to pay the same as someone's had a septic tank in their ground for 5 years. I don't think those are, I don't see those as
You're
being.
talking about different truck sizes,
Yeah, I'm
like-
talking, well, yeah.
We're not necessarily talking about restaurant waste. It's
There's
just
no grease in
basically-
these, I thought y'all just said there
We have
was.
another area
That's,
that was.
that's an entirely different.
Well, I was just going on what was said, so yeah. But I still think it should be a graduated scale. I think that's only fair.
But in that other area that you're talking about, for those different type of wastes, do we have higher fees in that respect? Is there a fee at all?
Not that I know of.
That's a problem.
I guess I'm really not familiar with it as far as, there's a dump ticket, but I don't think we have anything with that. Not like the septic, this is a service for the septic.
We'll evaluate that as well.
I mean, it sounds like it's gonna be something tough to evaluate. I don't.
Well, we're spending so much money on this wastewater treatment, so we better get it right.
Yeah, it'll be up to
And-
snuff.
We're recouping where we can.
April, yeah, I think it's fair.
Well, the
City
plan,
manager.
the plan is made to treat waste, and we trust the people that bring it there to be bringing just waste. And we just kind of, if we have time to see what other cities are doing and how they address it, and come back with something that
I
we
mean, I
can.
think it's fair on our part to let the public know that we're not doing anything at this point as far as cutting it out or raising the fee or anything of that nature. We're just investigating it or looking into it to see what needs to be done. It's gonna be fair to everybody concerned.
We understand that it's a service that needs to be provided. So, are we okay to move on?
Yes, sir, I think so. I think we'll bring something back to you all in April.
Right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna skip 3.9 for a moment. We're gonna move right on to the consent agenda.
Mayor, without objection, I move to take as read.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Harris, have a second by Alderman Hubbard. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, let's vote. Anyone care to change their vote?
Motion passes 6-0.
Very good. I think it's time for our city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be very brief. Just because Ms. Holloman just mentioned the wastewater treatment plant, we should know, on April the 15th what that cost looks like. The bid is out there. We finally got our final approvals from TDEC, and we should know on April the 15th what that looks like. Mr. Maloney from Griggs and Maloney has assured us that it will be under $20 million. I'm just kidding.
Raise your right hand.
It will not be anywhere close to that, unfortunately. But April 15th is when that bid opening, and it happens in this room, I believe, at 2 o'clock. So we are eagerly and anxiously awaiting that. Greenway has reopened. We had tree damage out on the Greenway due to the high winds over the weekend. We were fortunate to not experience any significant flooding issues during the flash flood rains. We're working diligently on the budget. What I would like for you to do is evaluate May the 13th for a potential budget work session, and let us know if May the 13th will be suitable for a work session in this room. And you can let me know. Just I want to throw out that date to everyone and see. If not, we'll revisit it next, we still have next month, and we can come up with another date for a budget work session. We are working on that and working on putting that together. We're not anywhere close to being finished, but we're getting there. So junk collection begins on April the 1st. Kudos to Public Works Department for, that's a big deal in April and October. They work a lot of, it's taken on an extra responsibility in those 2 months for them, and so they're going to be collecting junk beginning April 1st. And our citywide cleanup day is April 26th, so look out for that and how the community can participate in that. Mayor, that is all I have.
Very good. Before we take a brief recess, I'd like to make everyone aware that today is Natural Gas Utility Workers' Day. So, Benji? All right, we're going to take a brief recess and come back and have our executive session. Stand. call the March Board of Mayor and Alderman session back again.
Take up 3.9.
Item 3.9. Discuss and possibly take action on a proposal to resolve pending litigation. That's it. We have a motion by Alderman Bradley, we have a second by Alderman Hubbard.
That's not correct. We haven't made a motion yet.
Yeah. Will you retract your,
I can.
okay. Yeah, will you retract that motion?
Sure.
Mr. Hubbard, will you retract that second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, for the purpose of settling the bag condemnation lawsuit, I move that this board approve in principle and authorize the mayor to sign an agreement whereby, for no monetary consideration paid, the city will convey 26.4 acres of its industrial development park to the Greenway Irrevocable Trust, and whereby that same trust will simultaneously convey to the city 40 acres of property located at First Avenue North.
Now we have a motion by Vice Mayor Harris, a second by Alderman Bradley. Any questions, comments? Are we ready to vote?
Ready?
Let's vote. Does anyone care to change their vote? Listen, would you give us the tally, please?
Motion passes 6-0.
Ready to adjourn? Stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
It's been ugly.